Hey everyone, welcome back to another wrestling review. With me once again, we have Campo Reviews, who reviews movies, wrestling, and everything in between. He's got the cleaner t-shirt there, Kenny Omega, Terminator Styles, which is fitting because he was not on this show.
Absolutely not.
No, it was a New Japan show. It was a New Japan. We just got into the habit of calling it New Japan versus Noah because
Well, it
essentially
should
that's
have
what.
been called that.
Yeah, instead they called it Wrestle Kingdom 17 Night 2, which did not have the pomp and circumstance as the first night of Wrestle Kingdom had. So I think it should have just been called
Or NJPW versus
Noah.
PWN.
Yeah. So all right. So with that, did you catch any of the pre-show?
Caught the whole thing.
Okay. So the first match on the pre-show was Oiwa and your buddy Oleg Butlin.
Hey, guy's gonna be good one day.
He's gonna be all right. Oh wait, no, I'm looking at the wrong card. No, it was Fujita and Oiwa versus Ozawa and Yasutaka Yano, not our Yano. It's a different Yano.
And they kept just calling him Yano, and it like my head didn't like it.
Yeah, because I kept waiting for a DVD or something to come up.
Yeah, Sister Act 2.
Yeah, I mean, it was your typical Young Lions match. It was just a showcase to show these guys off. It went a little too long.
Yeah. It wasn't bad. You could see it was more than a show off. It was they really were trying to like I have no idea who any of these four guys were.
Except Oiwa.
Yeah, but they really were pushing Oiwa and the guy with the purple trunks. Like
I think that was Ozawa.
This whole match was like designed for them to like flex and like talk shit to each other, and like it was just about them, people to notice them.
Yeah,
that's why this whole match was put together. Like that's how it felt, because there wasn't really a quality match here. It was just like a showcase of these two people.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. That's what I put here. Basically just your typical pre-show match to showcase certain guys.
But I like that they do this, because if you watch AEW, first of all, in WWE, you don't even get your pre-shows listening to Booker T talk outside of an arena. And AEW shows you Eddie Kingston fighting an old Japanese guy every time.
I'm surprised they haven't done Kingston versus Muta on maybe that's coming up at Revolution. But yeah, I mean, this what took basically they teamed a New Japan and a Noah guy against a New Japan and a Noah guy. So now next pre-show match was Kitamaya and Inaba against Tomohiro Ishii, and this is your boy Oscar Lube.
Yeah.
First thing I put was Inaba looks like one of those final bosses in like Final Fight or Streets of Rage or something like that, with the mohawk and the.
You know what? This was a strange thing, because the other side was two old guys, wasn't it?
No, it was a young and an old guy against the young and an old guy.
Okay, so I'm misthinking about this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tomohiro Ishii is like, he's a much higher caliber wrestler than this match deserved, even though I don't like him really.
Yeah.
But it's like, look at the other three guys in this match.
They were
like,
fairly young.
Why? This is basically,
you have Lube,
like,
which is technically a young lion still, isn't he?
Yeah. But see, this is like where it gets weird for me, because it's like, what was the point here? You took it's like taking a bunch of NXT guys that aren't even like household names yet and putting them in a match where one of the opponents on one of the teams is John
Walter.
Moxley
Or Walter or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense why you picked that one guy to be in this match. You should have been.
I think it was just to get Ishii on the card.
Yeah, it must have been. Just to,
you know what, Ishii, when he walks, you know what he reminds me of? Ninja Turtles 2. Which one? Toka or Toka, right? He's the turtle.
Yeah, the turtle.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of that when he walks.
That's good. You nailed it. I wish I thought of that. I'm upset now that I didn't think of that. But I after like thought about this for no reason at all, I realized that Eddie Kingston is just a ripoff of Tomohiro Ishii.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. Same thing. That old guy that just has random matches.
Yeah, just random matches. And except that, okay, Eddie Kingston is a really good talker, but I don't think I've ever heard Tomohiro Ishii talk ever.
No, I don't think. Yeah. That's true. Come to think of it, I think, yeah, you're right. I don't think I've ever heard Ishii talk.
I bet you when he talks, he just goes, "Indeed."
No, Ishii probably has like this smooth, silky like voice. That's
He's like Barry White,
yeah, baby.
and he speaks perfect English. We just never
Right.
knew.
I could see that actually. So this is just like another like pre-show match. We go into the main card proper, which is an 8-man tag. I know how much you love like random guys in a tag match.
Yay!
It was Tanahashi and Takashi Segura, Toriano, and Satoshi Kojima, which Kojima and Segura are the GHC tag champions right now, against the Bullet Club members of El Phantasmo, Kenta, and Gato in a match against Marufuji with
So
the Bullet Club
this is what got me about this match. What was the logic of Gato?
to take the pin.
But you could have just put like Chase Owens.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you put any other member of Bullet Club in this match?
And that's what I noticed. This
like
show
60?
This show was LIJ heavy. It was more LIJ versus Kongo, to be fair, than New Japan versus Noah.
Yeah, which is fair enough what I wanted anyways.
So you didn't need a Bullet Club presence, or because there was no United Empire presence here at all.
Which I keep finding that weird now. We've gone two kind of things with none of it. And prior to Wrestle Kingdom and New Year's Dash, we also didn't see them at any of the things. Like any of the weekly goings on of New Japan.
I think they may be setting up for something big. I think they really want to focus LIJ for the next little while.
That's okay with me. It's just this match didn't matter. It wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, they did that nice little Briscoe tribute at the beginning,
which that was great.
Yeah,
it was actually great. Like this nailed it to the point of like, wow, I had like a little tear going on.
Yeah, like
this is a company that he wrestled in like 3 times. Put on this kind of a tribute. WWE put on armbands. AEW can't even talk about him.
Yeah, because Warner Media won't let them.
It's like, I bet you Impact's next thing is going to have a crazy thing too. And it's like, I don't get it. The companies that he's actually was, I don't know.
That one was a little, for those who don't know, Jay Briscoe passed away about a week ago now in a tragic car accident. Details on tomorrow's episode of State of Wrestling. But it was, and the fact that like they didn't even have to say anything to the crowd just respectfully stood up and knew to stand up at the 10 bell salute and all that. Like they just knew to do that.
Well, in fairness, I'm sure most of the people there are real wrestling fans if you came to this specific event, and you would know who they were. Briscoes are quite popular.
Yeah, you had Marufuji holding up the picture when he started his career, and you had Tanahashi holding up the more recent picture of him.
Yeah, and everyone came out.
Yeah, everybody,
even the people from the previous match who were clearly like injured, trying to like struggle to get out there.
Yeah. And this is weird because the people holding the photos like Tanahashi and Marufuji, they were in the next match. So why did they leave to come back in?
Because you have to intro. This is what's funny. You didn't intro Marufuji, but you introed Tanahashi on his own.
Right.
Because obviously they have to. But it's like, so in that case, why did they let him specifically go back? They should have just left him in the ring.
They should, exactly. But I don't know. But like I said, it was an opening match. Like, I mean, what do you want? Haven't seen Gato in the ring for a while. Interesting to see Gato without Jay White.
Interesting to see Gato without Jotto on the other side whenever he's in a match.
True. I mean, it was an okay opener for what it was. Little Tanahashi air guitar. I like the fact that the titty twister didn't work on he no-sold the titty twister there.
You know what, though? Just like this match in general, Marufuji's really good.
He is, yeah.
And I don't know, man. He's just really good. I don't have anything else to say. I don't know where I was going with that. But
and then typical with Yano in a match, you get your Yano and Gato in a match. No show either showing up. Well, no shows with Dick to go, but Yano.
Hey, we got no House of Torture, which was great.
Yeah. Gato, typical Gato, Yano shenanigans, distracts and then Yano gets the cheap roll up pin on Gato.
Yeah, any match where you have Yano and El Fantasmo is gonna be a doo-doo match.
Yeah, comedy match, to say the least. Next, you have your first New Japan versus Noah match. You have El Desperado against Yohei. I'm really becoming a fan of this kid, Yohei.
I told you.
Yeah, this
Flippin'
kid.
said it.
Yeah, you did. You did last month. This kid has got something about him.
Yohei and Quasar.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the other guy's name was. KZ?
Crazy? Something like
KZ.
that.
It was KZ.
KZ, yeah.
Yeah. Quasar.
Pulsar. The High Evolutionary. I mean, and this was a fun little it was a fun little match. Like it was
You know what? It was a pretty good match. Let's
like
just
it's what you get out of a junior heavy, like a typical junior heavyweight match. A lot of back and forth, a lot of high flying stuff, a lot of flippy dippies, like that kind of stuff. It wasn't that long, and Desperado gets the win, and it's 1-0 for New Japan at this point.
So there's a trend. I don't know if you noticed this outside of what the events that we'll get to of people definitely not necessarily getting injured, but getting hurt. Like you could tell in this match that both Desperado and Yohei got hurt.
Yeah, especially towards the end of the match.
Not stop holding his face every time he was like turning away from the camera and like holding his face.
I think he may have hurt his jaw. Or they broke his jaw.
They took his jab.
But yeah, they both look, and what's his name? Yohei was kind of holding his arm at one point too, like he may have done some shoulder damage.
And the match ended like it wasn't short or anything, but it ended really abruptly.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. I noticed this card; it wasn't very long. It was only 5 hours.
Okay. It was only 5 hours, mind you. A solid hour and a half of that runtime was just nothing. Them filming the empty arena, like waiting for something to happen.
Between the pre-show and
was an hour.
Yeah, that was long. Yeah, that was really. I
was like, huh? What was the point of that? Usually, you do a pre-show and then like 10 minutes later you start the card.
Yeah, like even what they did, even in the first night of Wrestle Kingdom, like it was within 20 minutes they started the main card proper.
It was well over an hour. I looked at the clock as I fast forwarded it.
Yeah. And then you have our next match is another New Japan versus Noah match. It was Alejandro Junta Maikawa and Amakusa, who is the GHC Junior Heavyweight Champ, against Master Wato, Ryosuke Taguchi, and Tiger Mask. And another whatever match. It wasn't.
I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, but like anytime there's a match that features both Taguchi and Tiger Mask, it's going to be kind of lame.
Yeah.
Because they're like a greatest hits of wrestling. Like they do the same thing every match, and it's like, oh yeah, great. That's like how how it was the whole time. I was like, oh, fantastic.
But I mean, this is also maybe having. This sets up a little thing between Taguchi and Wato again, like some dissension again.
Which just is weird, because isn't Tiger Mask in Noah?
No, he's New Japan.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure. I can tell you right now. He is Tiger Mask 4, former IWGP, signed to New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I don't believe it.
2002 to present.
Don't believe it for 1 second.
Okay, then Wikipedia don't lie.
Wikipedia lies.
Yeah, but I mean, Amakusa gets the pin over Master Wato in this, or was it Tiger Mask? Tiger Mask. It's good. It was Tiger Mask, and it's good for Amakusa because it can establish he has a pin now over a legend. You know what I mean? Like,
I guess
kind of cement him moving forward, and we're now tied at 1-1. This was, like I said, it was another just like it wasn't a bad match. It was just there.
Okay, so between this match and the 4-on-4 match, I can't really judge this pay-per-view based on those because they were just existing. Like they weren't bad. So I can't be like, well, this match sucked. But they also weren't long. Yeah. So that also helps.
This is when things after this match is when things go crazy.
Oh yeah.
So
No,
like
seriously, he's not
it's
joking.
yeah, it's they go crazy after this. Legit something crazy happened in the next match. But like up at this is typical New Japan. Let's throw a bunch of random matches together at first, and then we give you the meat of the match. You stuck around this long, here it is, right? And basically that's what they did again this time, because we kick off the second half of the show with Kazuchika Okada and Toge Makabe versus Kaito Kiyomiya and Yoshiki Inamura. This was nuts. This was
Okay, so I
absolutely
have a
nuts.
question before we even
Yeah.
talk about it, and I'll let you go. You tell the whole story. Before you saw what happened, and I told you get ready. Were you
Yeah.
expecting anything that happened to be what I was talking about?
No, not at all. When you said get ready and hold on, I was just waiting for a really good match because I stayed away from spoilers. I stayed away from
I thought that's what you were gonna think too. I thought you would be like, oh yeah,
yeah, and
it's
it
gonna be a
started
wicked
off
match.
like it. I kind of had a funny suspicion when it started off when because you have your heavyweight champ against your heavyweight champ in this match, but in a tag match against with two random guys on the side, which
You know what's funny?
okay,
They're like the opposite company's version of the same person.
yeah, they are. That's very
Isn't
much
that
true.
hilarious? Like the
Yeah,
way they walk, everything, the way their character acts.
yeah, and just like what's his name, Kaito, he's basically Noah's version of Okada.
Legitimately,
Yeah,
except he's like Okada 5 years ago.
more heelish.
He's still, and yeah, he's more heelish, and he's still like establishing that he's the future of this company. It's like Gato era Okada,
Yeah,
pre-red
and
hair.
pre-red hair. Yeah, and so like I said, the match already felt something weird when Kaito wanted to face Okada at the beginning of the match, and Okada just kind of like brushes him off and says he's not like you're not on my level kind of thing. Just because you're a champ doesn't mean you're on my level. And he kind of steps out of the ring, and you have Makabe and Inamura start off in the match. And finally, Okada tags in, and then at one point, Okada has Inamura in a submission hold, and Kaito just comes in, kicks him right in the face. Like, I mean, full on kick to the face to the point where it cut his head open.
Like he comes in and he gives him a light kick in the back.
In the back. Yeah.
And then Okada's like, whatever. Then he kicks him hard in the back, and you see Okada turn like, is this guy serious right now? And then he does it again. So Okada turns his head all the way
And
just to
then
catch
boom.
a shin kick right in the face, like
Yeah.
directly in the face.
And you heard it too, like you felt it. And
Yeah.
basically, at that point, the match goes off the rails, and Okada and Kaito just like start. It looked like a shoot. Like it looked like these two were. I don't know if it was,
Well,
but
I'll hold on that because more even happens. So after he kicks him in the face, he just politely walks back out of the ring and stands on the ringside. So Okada runs at him full speed and punches him in the face, and he flies off the apron into the.
And you even hear Kelly say, "There's your receipt."
Yeah, and at this point, so like I said, I'll get to more later. But at this point,
I think that's where Kaito, I think, knew he messed up by kicking Okada that hard in the face. I don't think he may have meant to catch him in the face like that, and that pissed Okada off. And I think
he just didn't mean to do it the way he did it. So, yeah. But this is apparently, so what happened? I watched the events at the last time when this kind of situation happened. Mm-hmm. Okada and Tanahashi beat him and someone else in a tag match, and he wouldn't get it. He was lying on the floor, Kiyomiya, whatever.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't get out of the ring. He's just lying there. I know Okada kept telling him, "Get out of the ring. This is my house." And he kept kicking him until he rolled out of the ring, like actually real life kicking him. So this was like Kiyomiya thinking, I'm going to come back and give my receipt to Okada, not realizing that Okada was going to turn around and just punch him off
and drill him. Yeah.
So at this point, Kevin Kelly is,
and that was closed fist too. Like that would have been
yes, it was.
If this were in the match, it would have been a disqualification.
So this is where leading up to where I wanted to go eventually. I'm not there yet, but so Okada fully punched him, and you could hear it. Both things you could hear fully.
You hear the
I was showing
smack.
my brother the video, and my brother's like, none of that was that bad. I'm like, they're not slapping legs. That's the sound of a guy punching another guy directly in the face at full power.
Because you could see Kiyomiya's face starting to welt up.
Yeah, so Kiyomiya lands on the a barricade. So this is where it starts to get kind of fishy because he places himself on the barricade to like take more damage.
Almost like, yeah.
And so he gets another punch in the face, and then he gets multiple kicks on the ground, hard kicks. But then Okada gets on him and just starts going Mr. Burns slaps all over him, which is now you're like, okay, what? But then he turns over and he starts punching him in the face again. So I'm like, whatever's happening, like this goes on for a really long time. I'm not going to describe this whole thing, but
Kelly's the match itself, full length of the match was 6.5 minutes. This probably went on for 4 of those 6.5 minutes.
You know what? I think it was longer than that. Was that actually like the time of this whole event was only
from
6
bell
minutes?
to bell was 6.5 minutes.
It felt like 20 minutes. Like it was a combination of the most entertaining thing I've seen and like adrenaline pumping, but also super cringe because it's like you're not expecting this when you're watching a wrestling match.
Yeah.
It reminds you of those days of those videos you see on YouTube of like the women Japanese wrestlers where they're literally like beating the shit out of a girl and she's dead and they just keep hitting her. But so then
Kelly's yelling at the referee, stop the match, stop the match.
Yeah, he's like, stop the match. He's like, ring the bell, and the ref's not paying attention to him. Kiyomiya gets up, he runs across the whole thing, and he punches Okada in the face so hard. I was like, holy crap, how did he not get knocked out? Down. Yeah. Then Okada kept like throwing him into the barricade, whatever. Then Makabe comes out, separates them, and then Kiyomiya runs at him and does a drop kick and kicks both of them in the face.
Yeah.
He hit both of them in the face. And then
now, if this were a shoot, if this were a real shoot, Makabe would have beaten the shit out.
That's why that's what was bothering me about this. Because first of all, the Noah guy didn't even get involved until the very end. He just sat there in the ring. Makabe kind of just was like awkwardly holding Okada in a way to let him continue to get hit. So Okada throws him over, tries to break him through the table, doesn't. Then he picks up the iPad monitor and whips it at him.
Yeah. Chris Charlton even tweeted a photo of the monitor broken.
And it's like, so this goes on for a while. Like I said, I don't know how they didn't clear locker rooms to like break it up. Then a few of the young lions took really heavy punches in the head.
Yeah. Kiyomiya ripped one of the young lions' shirt. Like you could see the scratch marks on the kid's back. Like,
yeah, it got bad. And it's in the end, it seemed like everyone was trying to hold back Okada, even though
Kiyomiya was the one.
Kiyomiya was the one that was really like
who initiated it and kept going for it.
He's the one that just kept going. Like Okada also wouldn't leave. Don't get me wrong, but it's like the amount of hits that happened were mostly from Okada, but the power hits were all coming from Kiyomiya. He was like fully, I cannot believe Okada did not get knocked out.
Yeah. He looked dazed though.
And if you look at them, like Okada is no longer the in shape, like jacked guy that he used to be. And he's fighting a guy that looks like he's literally spends all day fighting people. You know what I mean? Like that's how it came off. But back to the shoot aspects. I want to talk about this quickly, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you're watching this until I rewatch it for like the 12th time and I realized the thing on the barricade.
Yeah, I had to rewind it a few times.
So the barricade thing's what got me eventually. But on the initial watches of it, I didn't start catching on until they got to the other side of the ring. Like when they finally kind of separated them, but they kept I started realizing that, wait, look at the way things are happening. I think only the wrestlers knew this was going to happen. The referees didn't know. The organizations didn't know. None of the announcers knew.
So you think this is something Kiyomiya and Okada had decided,
but I think it also got out of hand. I think that they both got upset at each other for hitting each other too hard and actually started
hitting each other.
Because you can see like where it breaks up, like the belly to back suplex is a legit wrestling placement.
Move.
He lightly places him down behind him. It's not even like hard.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't understand.
But that punch or the drop kick,
that's what I'm saying, and the drop kick. But then there's like little bits there where like Okada's not really hitting him. He's kind of just like slapping him in the arm and like in the back, and it was really strange.
Yeah.
There was a few elbows that got thrown that were hard.
Yeah. But I honestly don't know what to think. it does. We find out at the end of the show that this is setting up a champion. It's not for any belts, but it's a one-on-one match between the two of them.
It should be champion versus champion, and Okada should lose.
I could see that, and that's going to happen on February 21st. We'll explain the rest of the card later in this episode. Yeah, so this ends in a no contest when the ref finally rings the bell.
So awkwardness aside, because this left me until I guess I would say halfway through the next match feeling very awkward inside. I didn't understand what just happened. How am I supposed to feel?
Yeah, I couldn't really enjoy the next match as much as I should have.
After the next match, I had so much adrenaline that every match got so good. I was like, yeah, beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Like,
well, because this is that really is what set the feud in motion, I guess, for this show. And
it made everything
have a more heightened sense
every single time anyone even did something remotely strong-armed. I was like, oh, something's happening, you know?
Yeah,
especially in the Shingo match. The Shingo match, when we get there, there was a lot of really hard hits.
Yeah. So we go into Tadasuke against Bushi. This is the first of many, I would say. Was it first of 5 of the Kongo versus LIJ matches?
Solid match. Nothing spectacular, but a solid match.
A solid match. Like I said, my adrenaline was so high from the last match that I couldn't get into this match as much as I should have.
There wasn't really a story told here.
Yeah, it was just an LIJ member against a random Kongo member, basically. Next, you got into a really good match.
Wait, who won that? You didn't even tell me who won.
Oh, it was Tadasuke. Goes over in Bushi. It's 1-0 for Kongo, and we're 2-1 for Noah at this point. Then you go into next match was Hiromu Takahashi against Hajime Ohara.
This was a good match.
This was a really good match, better than I expected from Takahashi. Absolutely. To be honest,
I 100% agree.
Yeah, it was. There was a lot. It was your typical junior heavyweight spot fest type of. But there was a lot of high flying, a lot of submissions,
spoilers. I knew they weren't going to let Takahashi lose.
No, they just gave the belt to Takahashi. Yeah. Same. I knew he wasn't going to take the L on this one, which sets up the next match. Same thing. We're getting Takahashi against Noah's junior heavyweight champ, Amakusa now. So
I think that pay-per-view is just going to be all champions versus champions. And then the rematch with Naito.
I'll take it. How does Bishamon fit into this then?
They're just going to make them face the champions.
Okay. Just random. But yeah, I mean, this was a fun match. Nothing, it was just a really good match. Nothing, I can't say anything, nothing wowed me, but to the point where it's oh my God, but it was a really good match.
Takahashi match? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
This was good. This is the point
where the show
elevated to another level for me.
Yeah. And it's gradually, like you said, we knew Takahashi wasn't going to get the loss because he just won the belt. So it's now 2-2 for New Japan with New Japan and 1-1 in the Kongo LIJ feud. We're going into the next match. We go from two great junior heavyweight matches into the Battle of the Hosses. You had Manabu Soya against Sonata. You had Guy Fieri against redheaded Guy Fieri.
It's this is a strange one because
they're former partners, aren't they?
I think so.
When Sonata was in Noah.
But that's all that had me pulled into this match, right? Because as soon as I saw the Noah guy, I was like, oh, I don't want to watch this guy. You know me, I have this thing with wrestlers. There's certain people, I just see them, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to watch this match.
He reminded me of a red-haired Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes, but they managed to put on a pretty good match.
Yeah, a lot of hard hits, a lot of strong style wrestling moves, the chops towards the end of the match,
and it makes you appreciate a little bit professionalism. Now we know that there might have been a whole shoot thing with Okada and what's his face.
Yeah.
But after seeing that, so I've only watched it my initial replays. I have since watched it 11 times. But going into this now, all of these matches actually, whenever something kind of went wrong, like in this match, there's a knee to the head and there's a hard hit to the head of Sonata. They both got accidental hits.
Yeah.
And it made me like appreciate the professionalism that wrestlers can have, because I was like, oh, look at these two idiots that were literally fighting 2 seconds ago like children over their egos. And these guys, knowing that happened, actually getting hurt, are like, oh, sorry, man, let's just continue this match.
Yeah, it was like they I guess could understand a mistake as opposed to, no, this guy's legit trying to hurt me. Like the knee to the head, shit happens.
And it was hard on the replay when they showed it. I was like, oh crap, he fully kneed him right in the face.
Man, sometimes that happens. You move awkwardly and you get clocked, and it's gonna happen. Like you can't avoid sometimes. But like you said, this showed a lot of professionalism from the two of them. And the matches just kept getting better and better from this point. This was another solid match. I noticed no Paradise Lock in this one.
Hey, you got to let it go once in a while.
Yeah. And Soy Boy goes over. Soya.
I didn't. Okay, the last match, I was like, okay, I kind of see where this is going, because I'm like, they're not gonna let Shingo lose.
No.
But are they gonna let Sonata lose? And then do they let, like, I was like trying to play out the thing in my head.
When this happened in this match, I knew exactly what they were going for. They were going for the LIJ comes from behind, and then the final match is going to decide it all. I figured that's what was going to happen.
But it also was weird because the whole time Chris and Kevin just kept talking about it's better if the LIJ lose, because it drums up more business for both companies, because it's going to lead to a sequel. Yeah, so we know there's a sequel now, anyways. But
anyway, so it's coming. But Soya goes over. It's now 3-2 for Noah and 2-1 for Kongo. So the next match is going to have some high stakes. And they said it. They even said when the match was going to start was, will Shingo give it 100% in this match, because he knows tonight, like the next night, he was going to have that match against Great Khan for the provisional KOPW championship.
Did he bring the belt to the ring in this match? Because I don't remember seeing it.
He did not. I did not see it because it wasn't on the line. So I don't know. So, but
this match was excellent.
It was a fantastic match.
The guy who he fought was fantastic.
Nakajima.
Oh my gosh, he was so good.
Yeah, he was not on the event that we watched on New Year's Day.
No. But this was like full all out Kings Road style.
Yeah, this match is take that Sonata match and multiply it by 10 in this one.
Yeah, this was like this is like late 90s,
strong style
90s, New Japan, where like they were just dropping each other on their head and like full out punches and kicks, and they both took it like champs. And once again, showing professionalism. Like, you hit me hard, I hit you hard. Continue, let's go.
Let's keep going and give these guys a show.
Like, you could see Shingo was like, "Oh shit!" One of those those kicks or slaps hurt him. Like, he was really delivering kicks. By the way,
and you see Shingo's chest at the end of the match; it was like bruised.
Yeah. In the next match as well, the kicks are just like kick, 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 kick. I was like, wow.
Yeah. But yeah, and it was a very evenly. It's a very even match too. They're both on the same skill level too. That made this match even more interesting for me as well.
They're both entertaining fighters to watch. And I didn't know that what's his name?
Nakajima.
I didn't know about Nakajima before going into this, but now.
But you knew Takagi was, our boy Shingo was going to give us a good match.
Shingo always puts on a good match.
Yeah. I just wasn't expecting. Now I understand why this was the co-main event as well. Like, it was.
I don't think anyone else, like, let's be realistic, like, no offense or anything, but I don't think anyone else in LIJ deserves co-main event status. Other than the two guys that got
the co-main event status.
It is what it is.
One spot I really like is when Nakajima has Shingo sitting in the corner and he's like leaning on the ropes with his feet up against and he's like telling all the guys, like telling everybody to take his photo as he's going in every corner doing it. And it's great showmanship, great entertainment too. Like, it had the entertainment aspect to it as well.
Yeah, and it's funny too because they're like when they're talking about them leaving, they're like Shingo. He's not going to let any of the doctors look at him after this because
He's
he
just
wants to
gonna
make
get in
sure
a
he can
car.
rest till
Yeah,
tomorrow.
he's just gonna get a car and drive to Nagoya
Yeah,
because
good
he had
on you.
a. So good on him. Fantastic match. Shingo goes over in a fantastic match. We are now at 3-3 for tied and 2-2 in the Kongo versus LIJ feud. So basically, it set up the next match wins, which I knew that's what they were aiming for.
Which is funny. One last thing, okay?
Yeah,
This whole event happened. It's all centered around this whole situation between LIJ
and Kongo.
and Kongo. Where's Titan?
Yeah,
He hasn't even been talked about.
no,
It's like they just forgot about that he's part of LIJ.
yeah. I forgot about that.
Sorry.
Maybe they
Also,
didn't have.
they didn't
Maybe they
even
didn't have
mention the
enough Kongo
four
members.
guys in Desperado's match. They never mentioned the four guys or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
Maybe it's already done. Maybe they're saving that for the New Japan shows.
Possibly.
So with that, we go into the main event proper. Kenoh against Naito. My brother Fab brought up a good point. Kenoh was actually the name of the first boss in the game Shinobi.
Everything leads back to video games. I'm starting to notice of this generation of Japanese wrestlers. It's all like video game based.
It is very true. They're telling a great story. How both wrestlers are not good enough to main event kind of thing. Naito wanted the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, but he didn't get it. Instead, he got the main event on night 2, which is not as prestigious as night 1. Same thing with Kenoh. He was supposed to be the main event against Kaito there, Kiyomiya, for the championship, but instead it was bumped down because it was Muta's final match with Shinsuke Nakamura. So it's like both of them feel like
that match was a banger.
It was. Both of them have something to prove, so it sets up even more stakes for this match. I think, at least. Yeah, and same it's
they're both
same,
the bastard children of their company.
they are absolutely. It was so good to hear the crowd once again chanting Naito, Naito.
Yeah,
Naito.
there was, and they went for a long time too.
Yeah. So this is one of the arenas where they were allowed to cheer.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice looking arena, to be honest with you too.
This was the Yokohama
arena.
Yeah. But I mean, it was a 30-minute limit. The crowd is super into it. Like, you have some good high flying moves, hard hitting moves. They're kind of like, I don't want to say they're like goading each other on kind of thing too. Like, Naito does his usual walk around the ring kind of thing. And like, this was another solid match. I would almost say that this was my match of the night.
Yeah, this is match of the night. We'll get it out of the way now. This is definitely match of the night.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Shingo came close, but it's Naito.
Yeah, and this was all the greatest hits from both wrestlers, and it was also a really good match, and it told a great story.
It did. Absolutely, it did. It's setting up another one. So the match ends. We have a Destino. We kick out with like 2 minutes left in the match because it's a 30-minute limit. We got a second Destino right after, and Naito gets the pin over Kenoh with like 2 minutes left in the match, or 3 minutes, whatever it was. Naito wins. LIJ is victorious over Kongo. New Japan is victorious over Noah. And at the end of the match, you have Naito with the fist up. And I thought they were teasing Kenoh and Kongo maybe forming the Noah version of LIJ.
Maybe.
Because LIJ has a presence everywhere, right? They have a presence in AEW now with the
Mexican presence they had is now all in AEW.
Yeah. So there's their North American,
AAA or CMLL, whatever company it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like a Bullet Club almost, right? They go to like multiple companies. Here's the thing. I really like the structure of this event.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad to see it keep going. When because I'm still a believer, when we get Forbidden Door 2, I would like this format to be Kenny Omega now leading a AEW infiltrating team to be like, we're coming in and we're going to beat New Japan.
We're taking over. Yeah.
Just like this. Just do the same thing. But the Elite is coming in, and maybe this is how you eliminate Bullet Club. AEW's like, oh, the Elite are like, no, we're going to destroy Bullet Club.
I was once your leader. We created Bullet Club. Now we're going to end it kind of
and
thing.
that could work. And then, you know what I'd also like to see? Segue that into later in the year. So now New Japan's been part of 2 takeover events. AEW does this, make the end of the year Impact versus AEW and have a whole thing where their rosters all meet each other and make every match like this where someone's from one company and someone's from the other company. Like
a lot of these, like I've noticed, like in the last 12 months, we're getting a lot of these crossover shows with different promotions.
Yeah, and I'd like
WWE is being left out of it. Like they feel
I would
like
the 1 year. Why does this keep turning off? I would like the full anniversary of this year to end on the new Forbidden Door, right? And I don't know what's the deal with WWE. I don't really care because I don't necessarily want them involved.
Yeah, I have my thoughts with the Rumble, but you guys have to tune in tomorrow to hear that. But yeah, like we're getting a lot of cross promote. Like they're seeing how it works in Japan, like Noah, and I'm surprised we haven't got the All Japan presence in there yet.
I think if we do get that crossover at this point, it's going to be with Noah and All Japan because Noah is still trying to elevate themselves to get back where they were,
and New Japan is kind of helping. It would be like it's the equivalent of AEW trying to help Impact,
right?
Yeah,
which Impact is not that's Noah's probably bigger than Impact, but you're making a good point. And the thing is, though, right now, All Japan is like MLW, and I can't see AEW going out of their way to help MLW, but I can see Impact going out of their way to help MLW, which would make sense to have Noah crossover with All Japan because All Japan right now, yes, they're legendary, but they're so small.
Yeah. It's kind of like the way the NWA used to be.
Yeah. All Japan really only has 2 like star wrestlers, and the rest of it is just like
even like I said, that's kind of like the NWA, where the NWA in the 70s and the 80s was one of the biggest companies in the world, and now
that's a better example.
What's his name? The Funkasaurus there is their champion.
They did have 2 legit stars when they had Matt Cardona and
Nick Aldis.
But I mean, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you. I'm proud of that one. But it's a great finish to the match. We know we're going to get a part 2 to this, which sets it up. At the end of this match, Naito kind of stares down Keiji Muto, and as Naito's walking away, Muto enters the ring and he says, "You know what? You're my final opponent ever." Basically, so the Keiji Muto's final match, his full-on retirement on February 21st, will be Naito versus Muto, which is going to feature also Okada versus Kiyomiya, and also I think it's Takahashi versus Amakusa on that card as well.
So my question to you is, so you're telling me that Keiji Muto's bye-bye forever never coming back match that already happened is not the last match that he's having?
That's Great Muta's last match. Remember, he's 2 different characters.
Well, he keeps having his goodbye tour has been going for like 5 years, and I'm starting to get confused at this point.
Okay, so he had his final Noah match. The Great Muta had his final Noah match against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes.
Okay. So that's his final Noah match.
Keiji Muto had his final match in New Japan
at Wrestle Kingdom. But now Keiji Muto is having his final match.
Don't mansplain me.
I'm just like trying to understand it myself. And if I hear myself talk out loud, I understand it a little better. But yes, that is going to be a pretty spectacular card. It's shaping up to be a good one. February 21st. It's basically right after, I think it's a week after the, what's the one Sasha's wrestling in? Sasha Banks there. It's
Battle in the Valley.
Battle in the Valley. It takes place right after that, like 3-4 days after that. And Battle in the Valley is the same day as Elimination Chamber.
I'd rather watch Battle in the Valley.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can watch both Battle in the
We
Valley.
are going to watch both,
Oh
but
yeah.
okay.
But
So
yeah.
let's get this video over.
Yes.
Score it.
Score it. So I gave it a pretty high score. It was a decent, not as good as some of the other shows we watched this year. I gave it a this is my, not including New Year's Evil and Note de Campeones, this is my lowest score so far. I gave it a 7.4, which is still a pretty decent score.
I'm gonna say it's just slightly worse than Hard to Kill. So I'm gonna give it a 7.6.
Okay. So we're still in the same range there.
Yeah. This year has been better for our ratings being like more ranged. Where last year,
Yeah.
even though this is completely unplanned, we somehow almost landed on the same number on every single review.
Yeah. Whereas this one is a little bit more.
Our choices are more nuanced, right? We've seen
Yeah.
more now, and it's like you always watch wrestling, but you've never watched it to this degree, I'm sure. Of
No,
like
this
watching
is
everything
in the last 12 months. I would say this is the most wrestling I've watched in a good 20 years.
Yeah,
Since basically the NWO.
Since Monday Night Wars.
Yeah, basically. So with that, here is the updated list. So we have basically I put my score here and I just put in Campo's score here, and Putty and Caps are falling by the wayside here because they haven't watched a single damn event yet.
Hey, in fairness, I mean, I always give Putty the benefit of the doubt because he did watch like 10 or 11 in a row last year.
Yes, last year.
Caps reviewed 2 and then didn't do like 7 and then did 1 and then didn't do like 7 and then did 1 and then missed the rest of the year.
So what I did actually was I was telling Campo the other day. So I put this on a Google Doc. So if he can actually go in and change it if he wants to.
I'm not changing anything.
No, but what I'm saying is, so it's in a Google document and I shared it with him. And what I did too was I promised you guys in the last video, I'd show you the year, all the year end or what we rated all the shows. So with that, here are all the shows from last year. So we're going to start, and that is basically all the shows from last year. We started with Revolution, and we ended up with ROH Final Battle on December the 10th. And this was our ratings for all of last year. You're right. Putty had a good run. For the
Caps got in 5. Caps watched night 2 and didn't rate it for some reason.
Yeah, he didn't. So I don't know why, but yeah, so he watched a few Caps. He kind of fell off after All Out. He didn't watch did he watch? Yeah, he watched Forbidden Door. He gave it an 8, and then he watched All Out, but he kind of gave up after that.
Yeah, he was gonna watch the next AEW, which was Full Gear, and then we just never ended up doing it.
And he never ended up doing it. I think he saw that we were going too hardcore into the reviews that he's like, yeah, I can't keep up with you guys.
I mean, Putty did get a few of them. Putty watched Dominion, okay, which is like
that in itself is something. Yeah, Dominion was not that good of a show. Yeah, we both gave it the same score.
Way too long.
Yeah, way too long. But yeah, it was that was last year's score. Back to this year's. So as you can see, I already have the list of some of the shows coming up over the next little while here. The only one I haven't added yet is that final Muda match, Last Love or something it's called, or something like that. So that's not added yet, but that will get added. Actually, I can do that right now. Insert one.
You guys don't want to see this.
Yeah, but it's going to go there. So with that, we're going to end the video, guys. Thanks again for joining us. Let us know in the comments below if you watched this event or if we're your only source of information for this kind of stuff. And if we are, we appreciate you tuning to us to get that information. So with that out of the way, thanks again for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on our monthly State of Wrestling show. So have a good night, everyone.